Okay guys, I realize that you all want to be done with WoW videos for today. I've been dragging you through the mud, I absolutely understand this, but unfortunately, YouTube algorithm really likes the WoW content, and I love making it, because cracking down on Blizzard is one of my favorite activities to wake up to. So today, we're gonna watch a Mad Season show vid, because this man is an absolute gem to the WoW community. Now apparently he made a video about Classic Plus announcement is coming soon and here's why. We all know that's pretty much 99% confirmed, and I just would like to hear his opinion because, well, we all have different opinions about how Classic Plus should be. So let's hear his.
Anyways, so Classic Plus, it is quite the enigma. Most everyone knows what it is, and yet still, no one can agree on what it is, or when it'll be out. Will it be good or bad? It's probably one of the most defined, undefinable products in the history of gaming, but I'll try my best to compile all of the most common things that you see about it. So Classic Plus is mostly generalized with the idea of the original base game, vanilla, after its final 1.12 patch. Instead of going through the Dark Portal, like in the Burning Crusade expansion and similar ones after it, the game instead continues on in the old world, in the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor. New content is then added that follows the spirit and design of the original base vanilla version of the game, with new raids, dungeons, class balance changes, zones, and even things such as new classes, specializations, professions, and other similar features in line with classic MMORPG game design. So as you probably know, when Classic 2019 Vanilla ended in 2021, Blizzard instead opted for the safer route of just going down the list of expansions released in their original chronological order, with similar phasing schedules to roughly match their releases. And as of today, they've reached all the way to the Mists of Pandaria expansion, and
Yes. Which no one plays because why in God's name would you revisit one of the worst expansions? The one who literally started the game deterioration, even worse than the Cataclysm. Why in God's name Blizzard thought that was a good idea? But I guess it's just to sell maybe a little bit more subscription, so why not? They already have the code, might as well use it. I seem to watch all of these videos before you watch them, clearly in similar algorithm. My condolences.
that's all well and good, but considering that for many people the end of the classic version of the game ended in Cataclysm, it's left quite a big discrepancy with what these players want and what Blizzard is providing, with many even turning to the independently run private servers to fill
I
in
miss
that
Turtle WoW
void,
so much.
as was evidenced with the almost overwhelming popularity of the Turtle WoW server, which just recently announced its shutdown after a legal battle with Blizzard. Blizzard has flirted with the idea of class.
There wasn't a legal battle. It was capital punishment. The Turtle WoW never stood a chance. Everyone knew that. I remember hearing some people talking about, oh, if they get her up, maybe they'll beat them in court. Homie, what are you on about? They literally stole their assets. They're not going to be winning in court. And don't get me wrong, I love Turtle WoW to death, but they didn't stand a chance. It is what it is. Unfortunately, they had to mock Blizzard, and Blizzard didn't take kindly to that. I think if Turtle WoW stayed low, it would have survived. But they constantly boasted about numbers. They constantly boasted about being better than Blizzard. Like on Twitter, they were literally clowning on them on Twitter 24/7. It was glorious. Don't get me wrong. It was wonderful to see. But it definitely expedited their, servers shutting down. Very unfortunate. I'll always have fond memories of maxing out my character there. It was insane. It was an insane journey. I really hope that whenever Blizzard releases Classic Plus, it turns out to be Turtle WoW, just like better. But it's a faint hope.
Classic Plus, with the closest to date being their seasonal servers. First you had the Season of Mastery, which made various raid balance changes to increase the overall difficulty of the PvE portion of the game, which a certain amount of the player base were disappointed with in the 2019 run. Following that, there's the more intense Season of Discovery, which held quite a few changes, but the most notable being the rune system, which changed the class balance and their functionality in quite drastic ways. There were some other things such as progressive level caps, and near the end some pretty popular.
All rehashed garbage. Season of Discovery is absolute trash, is the laziest attempt, and the people who call it Classic Plus are actual bozos. It's that simple. If you tell me Season of Discovery is Classic Plus because they added a few things that could be easily coded in, I'm sorry, son. You need to be institutionalized.
Requests within the realm of Classic Plus, such as a new Scarlet Monastery raid as well as a quest line for the legendary Ashbringer. Overall, it was kind of a mixed bag, and people were pretty split on it, with some people loving it and some people really disliking it. So there's been a large demand for it for quite a few years now, and certainly a lot of frustration, especially with Blizzard not providing it, and also now shutting down the actual Classic Plus Turtle WoW. If you look in the comments of this video, most likely people are not going to have a very fond opinion of Blizzard, but whatever you think of them, the point of this video is to just give you the information of why I think there's a 99% chance that it's probably going to be announced at BlizzCon, at least in some capacity.
It will be.
So starting here first with some older information.
Yeah, the reason is money, by the way. That's the reason it's going to be revealed at BlizzCon. Because Blizzard saw the numbers Turtle WoW was pulling, and they went like, we want in on that. Someone at Blizzard headquarters went and looked at the numbers, and his eyes went like, ding, 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 and he had like neon signs of dollars in his eyes, and he's like, yo, we gotta make that up. Yeah, we need to take that. That's good. That's the good stuff.
And that's the survey. Several months ago, Blizzard started sending out surveys to players, which requested for them to not share them publicly, but because it's the internet, of course, that's the first thing they did. It held a variety of questions, many of them relating to typical features and elements related to Classic Plus. This is something that we didn't actually cover previously, but what makes it relevant to this video is that despite its age, none of these features have been seen in any version of Classic, despite it having like 5 different versions at this point. So all of the information that they've gotten from this survey has yet to be utilized in any public way. So maybe they're just doing nothing with it, or maybe they're using it to guide them with this currently theoretical Classic Plus. Next we have the
No, they're gonna take all the right answers and then ignore them completely.
2025
Oh, and they're gonna add more mounts.
Blizzard Yearbook, which details some milestones for the various games.
Yeah, I'll check forever. People have told me about this. I'll check
Classic,
it out.
Which reads, Season of Discovery wound down with a bang in the Scarlet Enclave. This was the Scarlet Crusade raid I mentioned, as we got cooking on the long-term future of World of Warcraft Classic, eyes emoji, and just below that are a series of plus signs. Now, if you're in the Elder Scrolls trailer analysis community, this alone is probably at least a 4-hour video, but due to the large Classic Plus-sized elephant in the room, and this following a snippet about the Season of Discovery, which is Blizzard's closest thing to Classic Plus so far, many people see this as a tease for an official Classic Plus, which
100%.
I think is reasonable. Throughout the development and...
Guys, you really don't need to look too deep into it. Blizzard follows the money. It's that simple. They saw Turtle WoW was pooling 500,000 people worldwide as a private server. By the way, you need to get it. The moment this becomes official, it will grow 10 times larger. Because people to this day, they're either unaware of private servers or they just don't trust them. For various reasons. You give your information to, you know, and like unknown company, essentially. You put it in the hand of strangers, which, to be honest, it's way better than put it in the hands of Blizzard. But I digress. Most people don't know or trust private servers. So pulling 500,000 players worldwide is insane for a private server. When this becomes official, it's going to blow the hell up.
Run of Season of Discovery, if you notice, the developer said many times that the whole thing was an experiment and they wanted to see what worked and what didn't work. Quoting the team directly in this blue post, we have Season of Discovery was always meant to be an ephemeral seasonal experience, and while it became so much more for a time,
yes,
we're extremely excited about the things we're working on for the future.
Yeah, the experiment was to see how much money can it gain for Blizzard. That was the experiment.
So, the thought process here being that the reason for an experiment is to gain information for a bigger project, so I take this as the Season of Discovery, especially due to its eventual end date, was just this testing ground for a more solid foundation for, presumably, an unending Classic Plus version of the game. Assuming that this is true, this could even give you a rough idea of what their version of Classic Plus could be based on the feedback of Season of Discovery. You know, what did players generally like and dislike about the season? That itself is up for debate and would set this video way off focus, so I'll just leave that for you to argue about in the comments. Next up, we have the 2026 State of Azeroth. This is a new thing they're doing, I guess. It's kind of like a mini preview of what's coming up in the year for...
Look at the amount of dislikes. I'll move my chat so you can see. Look at the amount of dislikes. There we go. In true Blizzard fashion, 50 to 50... No, it's not even 50 to 50 ratio. It's like 49-51. Like, you can tell. People hate Blizzard. No, sorry, it's not 50-50. It's like, sorry, like the other way around, sorry. Like, a bit more likes, but still, people are hating. People are hating on that. It's insane. And it's because Blizzard doesn't care about its player base. They only make up these videos to just kind of, I don't know. But to be honest, I really don't know. Maybe appeal to kids, like to Fortnite babies. I'm not really sure at this point. I don't know what the strategy is. All that I know is that they care about money. That is literally everything. And no amount of dislikes would ever deter Blizzard from doing something right. From doing like the wrong thing, sorry.
Forms of World of Warcraft, Classic included. And while the 2026 version was more focused around housing in retail WoW, how they're adding a 7th form of monetization to the game.
Easy money.
Yes, I counted. They did also have this weird mention / tease of Classic that's... Well, I mean, I'll just play it here for you.
Guys, if you wanted to know the true reason for why World of Warcraft sucks, it's right in front of you. Wine moms and Labubu millennials. That's all that I'm going to say. I went too deep on it on previous videos. I just had enough. I'm too tired.
And that's not all we're cooking up. I can say with confidence that all Classic players across the globe have a lot to look forward to. I'm really excited to announce that... I guess we'll save that for later.
Dude, I can't. Oh my god. I promise I won't get into it. I'm sorry. I just get rage baited. I got rage baited. Why are we having skits with MCU comedy in it? What happened to the grittiness? What happened to the savagery, the barbarism? What happened to the foundation Warcraft has built for World of Warcraft to stand upon? What in God's name is that cringe? Why am I watching a wine mom Karen telling me how I should enjoy my game? Why don't I watch some bald dude with a beard telling me how to play the game? Tell me right now. And by the way, it's not anything against like females working at Blizzard or anything like that. I know people like to clown on me for it. I literally could not care less. There used to be incredible female characters in World of Warcraft, and they were all butchered. They were all decimated. Sylvanas, Tyrande, Jaina, and we can go on and on and on and on. Even Maiev, like, who cares about her anymore? She used to be a really cool ward, and now she's nothing. It's so dumb. It just, Ian and Holly got to go. Yeah, they have to be fired. They have to be fired, and you need to put Chris Metzen in charge. Not only for the framework, because right now he's building the framework, and Blizzard employees is filling the same framework with crap. No, he needs to be responsible of everything. And if possible, get back Jeff Kaplan on board. Which I highly doubt would happen. But if you can manage to rectify things with him, I really hope it will.
Did you get that? We'll play it again.
I'm really excited to announce that...
One more time?
I'm really excited to announce that...
Stop, please.
Yeah, I have no fucking idea. It's Holly something. But yeah, this was the big tease. So, a rational person would say they wouldn't blue ball the players unless it's something really big, right? And obviously the biggest thing that they could do is Classic Plus, without a doubt. But hold on. This is Blizzard Entertainment, who, aside from the Cosby Suite, are entirely out of touch with their player base. At this point, there's been quite from the Cosby Suite.
I remember that. Bro, they're so disgusting. Holy shit. Yeah, Blizzard is truly the most reprehensible company out there. It's just so revolting, dog. I literally can't. God damn, is that Ghostcrawler? Was he part of the Cosby Suite shenanigans? That's crazy. Afrisiabi is like a seeker. I know that. He immediately was fired whenever this was revealed, but I didn't know Ghostcrawler was part of it. Boys' Night? Yeah. I bet their fridge was filled to the brim with milk.
Suite are entirely out of touch with their player base. At this point, there's been quite a rich history of them hyping something up, and then it turns out to be a mobile Diablo game or some shit.
We'd also like to let you know that the forges here at Blizzard are burning hot. and we have multiple Diablo projects in the works.
3 weeks later.
The current plan is to be on mobile, both Android and
Don't you guys
iOS.
have phones?
We don't have any plans at the moment
shit.
to do PC.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones.
Classic.
Yeah, remember that shit? Oh, we got some big
Yeah.
news for you Diablo fans. Fucking Netflix series that never saw the light of day, and the rape.
And by the way, he's not going to show it because it's actually not supporting his argument. Diablo Immortal made like $500 million in its first year. Something like that. It was crazy amount. It was super successful. It is one of Blizzard's most successful IPs. Whether you like it or not, it's reality. You can Google it up. The numbers are insane. So it was insanely successful. But he's not going to show it because it disproves his argument. Which I understand, but we have to be honest here, right? I'm like, integrity is a big part of this channel, so I'm just gonna lay it out there, just so you know. It was very, very successful.
Thing of your childhood. So
Monetarily
this could
speaking,
go either way.
of course.
If Blizzard were normal,
Just be normal.
this could be taken as a clear tease for Classic Plus, but as we know, they're not normal. Next, we have the Agrand post. Early this year in January, Agrand announced his diminished involvement with the 2019 line of Classic, which again is in Pandaria, as well as Anniversary, which is now in the Burning Crusade with level boosts, and likely soon the WoW token. Told you so, by the way, just in case you forgot.
Of course.
Because I definitely didn't. But in the same post, he announced his change from production to design, and that he's working on the future of Classic. But if that future isn't Anniversary or the
What can it
2019
be?
line, what could it be?
Suing TurtleWow and recover their assets because you can't make anything good.
That leaves only a new project.
And I know
some
it's
people
Blizzard
conclude
assets. I'm
that
talking about the
what
layout.
new project could it be other
Don't
than
be
Classic
smartest.
Plus? And lastly, we have a repetition of history. Earlier, we talked about the shutdown of TurtleWow, a popular private server dedicated to Classic Plus content.
sorry, the
It's
volume.
overall been very highly received, and because of that, it became quite popular. And because it became
There we go.
popular, it pinged Blizzard's radar, leading to the lawsuit and upcoming shutdown. And
It's not only that, it's the constant mogging by TurtleWow, which I highly appreciate. I love me a good mog competition. Don't get me wrong, but, you know, they went a little bit overboard.
I mentioned this
They
because
poked the bear.
of two things. One, in the terms of the lawsuit, Blizzard wanted all the data and everything to do with the project.
I wonder
And
why.
two, we have a fairly similar situation to the Nostalgia shutdown leading to Classic 2019. So this is just about 10 years ago now, but there was once a private server named Nostalrius that was just simply a vanilla private server. It was the old version of the game as closely as they could recreate it, and it was run pretty well by an independent group of people. It was fairly stable, and combine that with the fact that Blizzard was still adamantly refusing that anybody actually wanted to play it, it became quite popular. And just like TurtleWow, popular enough that they would become a threat to Blizzard's player base and IP, and so they sent a cease and desist, which they did end up complying to. However, they did also send an invitation to their offices in California, where they had a chat relating to vanilla World of Warcraft in some capacity. Then, in the next year's BlizzCon, in November of 2017, the announcement of Classic 2019 was made. That ran all the way until 2021, at which point they released level boosts, which is when this highly attractive and intelligent YouTube channel named Mad Season Show predicted the later release of the WoW token, which a portion of the player base adamantly refuted, and that Blizzard would never do such a thing in a million years, at which point the WoW token was later released, and then all of these people disappeared into the fucking bush like Homer J. Simpson. But the point here obviously being that there has been a precedent
Well, to be fair, you guys wanted new content added to World of Warcraft Classic. You got it. You got it.
of Blizzard shutting down a popular private server shortly before announcing their own similar server. So, Nostalgia shut down in 2016, 2017, the Classic announcement, which could precede the Turtle shutdown in 2026, followed with the Classic Plus announcement. Regarding the data, I personally don't know about this one, but some people believe it, so I still wanted to at least mention it. But some people think because Blizzard is getting all of the data of the various features of Turtle WoW, that they're just going to copy paste it. I don't believe this for two reasons.
They will.
One, first being, I highly doubt it would be that simple. As far as I understand, Turtle WoW's foundation was 1.12 Vanilla WoW, which was the old client that Blizzard has said in the past.
It doesn't matter. They just want to take the idea. Recreating the dungeon won't take too long. It won't take longer than a day for a competent developer. It wouldn't, because they have all the assets, they have the engine running. It will be easy. Easy. They just want the layout. It's that simple.
That they can't go back to because it has all of these old security vulnerabilities and other various exploits. And number two, I think, is that they're probably just pretty set on doing their own thing. It'd kind of be a blow to their ego to just copy-paste a private server.
No, it's not.
So,
no, it won't.
I don't know.
Blizzard has no ego. All they care about is money. Again, I'll keep saying it. Blizzard has no morals, no conscience whatsoever. They do not care. All they care about is more money. It's that they're like Mr. Krabs. They would sell you out for 20 cents. They do not care. Like that episode where Mr. Krabs sold SpongeBob to the Flying Dutchman, like the dude. It was like, who cares? It's the same with Blizzard. They don't care about you whatsoever. They have no qualms whatsoever when it comes to money, like monetization, right? They're shameless.
I have my doubts in that regard, but I still wanted to mention it because some people have brought it up. So we have Classic Plus surveys, Season of Discovery experiment, the yearbook
SpongeBob
tease,
reference in Din's
the
day and age.
2026
Yes.
State of Azeroth
Best
weird
series
tease
ever.
Thing, cryptic developer blogs, private server, precedents. Of course, there's nothing rock solid yet, but I do believe that there is enough information all pointing towards one thing. To me, the most convincing sign is the eyes emoji with the plus signs. I highly doubt that's coincidental. So I personally would be pretty surprised if they didn't announce it at this year's BlizzCon, especially since they teased it.
Oh, it's on September. Yeah, they made it earlier. I remember. They actually made it earlier. Okay, fair enough. So September it is. We're gonna find out what Classic Plus is all about. The question is, how long would it take them to ship it? I think a matter of few months. They're really starving for money. I know Midnight is doing really poorly. I think they will try to ship it as early as possible.
So much in various different ways, unless, they're maybe going to do another Netflix series that will never materialize, or a mobile version of Classic that's monetized in borderline illegal ways, which would still be entertaining, so it's a win-win in my book. So this all just leaves one question. Will it be good? Is it going to be Classic
Yes.
Plus or Turtle Minus, as my friend Clubs likes to put it? Again, if you scroll down, you'll probably find the general sentiment in the comments.
Yeah.
People, for some inexplicable, totally unreasonable reason, have lost faith in Blizzard. I'm not really sure why. I think that they're personally doing a bang-up job. I mean, just look at the impeccable quality of content they've been putting out.
What? It just went through him. What is that?
The fuck is that?
Maybe if they add an eighth form of
Bro, they're
monetization,
running out of
they
money.
can surpass the One Punch Man levels of animation. The unalienable fact
Man, developers gotta have it rough out there. Between all the cube crawling and fridge raiding, that's nuts. I can't believe that cutscene actually made it there. It's absolutely bogus. But to be honest, all that Blizzard needs to do is re-release Turtle WoW as an official server, and it will get them millions. I would play that, admittedly. If it's only Turtle WoW and you haven't changed a damn thing, I would play it. So I would be really surprised if Blizzard could actually mess that up. If it will mess it up, that's insane. Absolutely insane.
is that it has the potential to be good, which was shown quite well with Turtle WoW, of course. So that leaves the actual question of, is Blizzard able to realize that potential, which we'll have to see. I do think that it will be pretty heavily monetized.
Wait, what? Season of Discovery was pure trash just like Turtle WoW? I don't get why people shill for Turtle WoW so hard. It was literally private server quality. Both versions had one in common. Reused assets all over the place. Well, you can make some good stuff with reused assets. Like, I don't understand your point here, really. you can make a lot of good stuff. And it's not only reused assets, is they made new stuff with said assets that Blizzard themselves didn't do. I mean, have you played Turtle to the fullest? Because I maxed there. I maxed there and it was insane. So, yeah, I'm not saying every content was good. You're 100% right about that. I'm not saying every piece of content was good. I think Gilneas was meh, but there are so many good content. Like, Dragon Maw Retreat. Have you seen that dungeon? It was insanely good. Very impressive. All reused assets, granted. But you can make good stuff with reused asset. Look, Dota. Dota was made on the Warcraft engine. Warcraft 3 engine. It's still vastly different from the game. But it's the same assets. Vastly different. It's the same with Turtle WoW. Really, really good. Also, all the classes were completely different. All of them. They literally changed everything from the ground up. So, could they have done a better job if they had access to newer stuff like Blizzard? 100%. But did they maximize what they could with what they had? 100%. So, you can't really blame them. And also, take into consideration that the game is free. It was free. Obviously, they thrived off donations. But it was still free. You didn't have to give them anything. Blizzard is going to charge you for money. So I do agree when people would come into Classic Plus and they give their hard-earned doubloons to Blizzard, and they would be mad that the quality isn't better than Turtle WoW. Because now Blizzard is committed to give you a superior product. Because Turtle WoW was free, nobody had any expectations, people kind of came into it like whatever. But whenever Blizzard is going to do Classic Plus, if I'm going to be paying for it, you gotta give me a good product.
I really think there's any way of getting
for a free product. 100%. Yeah, I'm glad we agree. We agree on most of it.
Now, Jeff Kaplan actually came out and spilled the tea with a lot of the background shenanigans that went on with Blizzard at the time of his departure. Surely you know him. This is Mr.
I agree with you 100%.
Himself, longtime World of Warcraft developer and the father of Overwatch. Overwatch was pretty much his baby, and he shared a story recently of their CFO, their chief financial officer, bringing him into his office and saying, okay, you need to hit these profit margins or people are going to be fired, and it's going to be your fault that they're going to be fired.
For me, like what sort of ultimately broke me in my Blizzard career was I got called in the CFO's office, and he sits me down and he says, he gives me a date, which at the time was 2020 and was going to slip to 2021, but at the time it was 2020. And he said, Overwatch has to make in 2020. And then every year after that, it needs a recurring revenue.
Wow.
And then he says to me, if it doesn't do dollars, we're going to lay off 1,000 people, and that's going to be on you.
Is anyone surprised by that? Just a question. Like, is literally anyone surprised by that? I remember listening to this podcast on this very stream for the first time, and I wasn't. I literally wasn't. Of course. Of course it doesn't. Like, who in his right mind would not see that coming? You saw how the game was going. You saw how aggressively they monetized Overwatch. The whole introduction to Overwatch 2 was simply to make the game free to play and Fortnite model with all of the Gamba stuff and all of the super expensive skins. That's what the entire premise of it was. Because the first Overwatch game was really good. The loot boxes, like, yeah, they were loot boxes, but they were pretty fair. I never had a personal issue with them. But Overwatch 2, oh my god, that was garbage. That was absolutely dumpster tier. So if anyone is surprised by this, I'm sorry, but you should not be on the internet, okay? We should revoke your privilege to the online sphere.
And that was just the biggest fuck you moment.
Yeah, that would be on you is a wild thing to say. Of course, it's wild. But these people, you need to understand. I honestly, I don't know how to say it without, like, being demonetized off of YouTube, so I rather stay silent. But I don't even consider these people, if you know what I mean. Like, all of these CEOs of massive companies, or CFOs, whatever, I don't care. Any title that starts with a C. They're all dog water. They worth nothing. They're worthless. All they can amount is to money. That's all they think worth is. They don't think about humans. They don't think about the player base. They don't think about the consumers, the developers. They're not developers themselves. They are guys in suits. And once again, we need to make sure that these type of people are constantly rebuked and admonished. This type of behavior should be repudiated at every single turn. It's that simple. It's that simple.
I had in my career, it felt surreal to be in that condition. And as somebody who's worked on a lot of games, made a lot of games, you get in these meetings where they're like, Fortnite has 1,400 people working on it. If you just hire 1,400 people and make it free to play, we'll make that money, right? And
Fortnite model.
That was, I had believed I would never work any place but Blizzard. I loved it. It was a part of who I was.
That's crazy. How Fortnite changed the entire landscape for gaming. It's insane. Because Fortnite was so successful with children, people look at the amount of money and influence it had on like their player base. They wanted to cash in on that so hard. And now the problem is we have video game homogenization where one game breaks the mold and every other company tried to ride that. To be fair, we had it back in the day too with MOBA games. Everyone tried to copy the success of League of Legends and Dota 2. Now, every single one of them failed, save for Smite. Smite was the only game that survived long-term the MOBA craze. And even now, it's dying. I heard they were about to shut down, but because Hi-Rez is a very dumb studio, I used to really like Smite, but they've done some poor decision. Regardless, everyone else tried to cash in on Overwatch immediately after with the hero shooters, and it was the exact same thing with Battle Royale. And by the way, Hi-Rez tried to cash in on all of these fronts and failed. So, just, throw it out there if you want to see a really funny video about that later. But, yeah, now we're just getting the same rehashed garbage over and over again. There's no innovation. There's nothing new for us to try out, for bad or good, because people are afraid of making something new. They just want to make something that works and gives them money short term. That's why we will never see a Groot. I was about to say great and good at the same time. It kind of, I said Groot. Maybe it's the MCU influence over me. But we're never going to see a good product ever again unless it's from an indie company. And that's why I'm so glad to support indie companies whenever I can. Obviously, 99% of indie company games are pure garbage. But the 1%, the Expedition 33, the Vampire Survivor, Balatro, all of these games, I'll gladly support them, even if I won't play them long term, because I really want to see those companies thrive. Like, it's that simple. Oh, hey there, Barbuck. Like Dark Souls type games, exactly. But you know what is the thing with Dark Souls game? They were actually successful. Why? Because they didn't come from Western markets. Western people don't like to make Dark Souls-like games. Only for some reason, like Eastern companies do, and they're actually pretty good at it. Lies of P and First Berserker Kazan are goated. Unfortunately, First Berserker Kazan crew has shot it down, and they're not going to make a sequel. That's very unfortunate, but Lies of P is currently working on a sequel. And you bet I'm going to play it. It's one of my all-time favorite Souls-like games. It's crazy good. Yeah, they ruined Smite pulling an Overwatch 2. Exactly. Exactly. I will just stick to Guild Wars 2. Based. Absolutely based. Unfortunately, Guild Wars 2 copies... Sorry, okay, I was about to say Guild Wars 2 copies everything from World of Warcraft, but I rage-baited enough people with that.
And I felt I was a
it's
part
okay.
of it.
I'll forgive you this
and
time.
I literally thought I would retire from the place. I never thought the day would come.
That particular CFO is no longer working at Blizzard, but
Apple, no. Yeah, I stopped myself.
This is sort of what lies at the core of the company today. It's just this sort of brutal corporate atmosphere that really stifles any sort of creative integrity.
Hey, you! Stop bullying the multi-billion-dollar company!
So, along with the Classic Plus announcement, I am also expecting level boosts, WoW tokens, other similar forms of monetization.
Expect the worst, always.
But most likely in the months following the launch, which I think is just something that you're going to have to accept if you want to play it, is my prediction. People have been asking if I'll play it. I don't know. I haven't actually played in over a year. Ever since I got into OSRS, it's been more than enough for me, but I've kind of grown to accept that I wouldn't be able to resist the heroin unless it just looks
Nobody.
really terrible. But
We're all a bunch of addicts, brother. You're never alone. You'll never walk alone when it comes to World of Warcraft addiction. We're all going to complain, and we're all going to pay for it. It is what it is. The WoW itch can never be scratched by any other game than World of Warcraft. It's such a damn shame.
yeah, we'll see. No promises either way. Thanks again to the sponsor of this
Yeah,
video.
okay, seems to be the end of the video. Insanely good video by Matt Season Show. I really like this guy. I'm going to leave a link in the description, guys. Make sure you actually give him a like and a sub. He's such a phenomenal content creator. I truly love watching every one of his WoW videos. But, I mean, I already said what I had to. At the end of the day, Blizzard is going to change? No.